Don't follow me on TikTok. Go ahead and follow me on TikTok, okay? I know this is not regularly scheduled time, but I want to make time for Toni and myself, all right? Love y'all. We'll be on in just a second. And Toni is coming in now. Hey!
Hi.
Oh, that face is big.
You know what's so crazy? I barely have on any makeup, so that's a compliment. That means my skin is doing what it needs to do.
Wait a minute. So that's just your natural glow?
Yeah, like I got a little concealer like right here, and then I got lashes and whatever. But all my skin, yeah, that's
Baby,
all
listen,
me.
let me tell you, ain't nothing like a girl with a glow. What's going
But
on,
you know what it
everybody?
is too? It's those natural oils that come out of your face too.
I've been doing a little something, something. Little something. But listen, I am so glad to have you on tonight. For those of you who are just now tuning in with us today, today's 101 is with none other than the Toni Bryce. Notice she put in her tag name on Instagram, the Toni Bryce, y'all. Toni is an amazing person, y'all. She's a personal friend of mine. She's an actress, she's an advocate, and she is a instrument of empowerment. And I am so glad to be talking to her today. So, the topic for today, y'all, is Entertainment 101, transgender women in media. And I want to say, as a correction, it's not transgender women, it's women of transgender experience. We want to always make sure we're being politically correct here on 101 with Michael Jonvier, okay? And that's something, that she taught me a while back. And just to give you guys a little bit of background about myself and Toni, I met Toni when she was doing the Twisted series some years back. And so from there, she and I became friends because I remember one day, we were hanging out at a get-together, kickback with somebody who shall not be named. And
My God.
we got ready to leave. And he was like, hey, can one of y'all walk me to my car? I see some cisgender men over there and I don't want it to be no problem. And I was kind of like, well, why would she need help going to her car? I don't think it's that serious or whatnot. But then I started thinking about the stuff that was going on at the time to people of trans experience. I was like, she absolutely does need somebody to walk to her car. And it just kind of made me sad that she had to endure that and that people have to endure that in general. And so from there, I became more interested in trans issues and befriending you and just learning about you as a beautiful person. And you are truly beautiful.
Thank you, Mikey. I appreciate you. And I've always appreciated you. I always say too, like in season 1 of P-Valley, the stars and the recurring, they're on all these magazines and they're doing all of these interviews, E-News, et cetera, et cetera. But for somebody like me that's been connected with the indie world and people doing the groundwork for so long, I felt like I had my own tour, my press tour with people that I've been knowing for years and that have been supporting me for years. I always want to say thank you for, just being supportive along the journey. I appreciate you.
Well, let me tell you, it's all about the journey. But the reason I wanted to tag you for this particular topic is because you are actually a woman of transgender experience that is in the entertainment industry. Like you said, you've made appearances in P-Valley, you've made appearances in Star, and you've done a number of indie projects. And so I wanted to tag you for this also because your story is a bit unique. Why don't you tell everybody, I don't want to say unique because not all women of transgender experience do sex work, but that's something that you've never done yourself. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your background?
So I am from originally East St. Louis, Illinois. I eventually moved over to St. Louis, Missouri. A lot of people hear St. Louis, they only think of St. Louis, Missouri, but East St. Louis, East St. Louis, if you want to be, say it correctly, is a place in Illinois. It's very much so a place with a lot of poverty, a lot of crime, a lot of just a lot of people that are stuck within that. And they don't know how to escape. They don't know how to grow from it. They don't know how to move on from it. I was actually just talking to my mom yesterday, and we were having a conversation about a couple people that's been having jobs and they've been getting fired, but they want to sell drugs. And I just had to tell her, I was like, for me to be on this journey to come from where we come from, to not only graduate college or high school, but also college, to move out of the hood, to change my environment and do these things that I want to do, I would think, that would be or serve as some kind of inspiration to somebody. And though I don't do it for nobody but me, I would hope at least along the way somebody has been watching to be inspired within my family. And I'm just like, And even if they're not, it ain't stopping me because I got my own journey and they have theirs. So whether it's a brother, sister, cousin, whoever, if you know, whatever y'all doing, that's y'all path, that's y'all life. But
Absolutely.
for me, I'm just happy that I'm not, you know, I got out of that, honestly, because it is not a great place to be in. And everybody that has moved away and came back has either passed away or either in the criminal system for some reason or another. So,
It's
yeah.
like you said, you made a decision about what would be best for your own path, and you
Right.
did it. You're freeing yourself from the situation. Like, listen, I did it, and you can do it too. Even if you're not a source of inspiration, you are proof that it can be done. So, congratulations to you on that. So, but when it comes to you and acting, how did you get bit by the acting bug?
I always tell this little funny little moment back in elementary school was my first time ever acting. And I played Santa Claus in a play. But where it really, really hit me, I was in high school in St. Louis, and my first high school did not have theater. And then I was like, I want to do theater. And so after that school lost accreditation, and we ended up moving to a different school district. So I ended up going to McClure Senior High School, and that's where I joined theater. And so that's where in 2007 is when I started. My first show was A Christmas Carol, Metamorphoses, Jesus Christ Superstar.
Are you
You know, all of, and this is in high school. And so that's where it really hit me. And I was like, this is something I want to do. So like, that was the seed that was being planted. And that was what, over 10 years ago. So that was the seed that was planted.
Well, let me ask you a question. I mean, you always knew that you were another gender and you felt it inside of you. Did you ever at any point in time say, okay, well, I'm feeling this way, I'm realizing that I'm trans and I shouldn't be acting, or maybe I just need to step out of it, or I should just like, this ain't it for me? Or you knew it was going to be much harder for you than it would be, say, the average person who is already extremely hard for
it? You know, I actually feel like my identity, I feel like in the beginning stages, it was difficult for talent that is trans, period, because there was no opportunities. But I feel like for me in my personal journey, I feel like I had to go through a journey of not, and this, I don't know if this will make sense to people, but not being a transgender woman to being a woman of trans experience. Because there was a point where every time I would submit, it'd be like, I'm a trans person. No, baby, I'm a woman. The way I show up and the way I present, I'm a woman. So therefore, any role that I apply for, it doesn't have to be necessarily centered around a trans character or whatever. It doesn't have to be. I'm a woman. And so that when I was able to own and be confident in my identity as a woman first, of trans experience second, then I was able to like really navigate and show up on these sets and be confident. Because for a long time when I was doing background, I felt like, and probably 9 times out of 10, I was the only trans person on these sets. So it's kind of like I couldn't allow my identity to determine if I belonged in this space or not. I was going to create my lane and I was going to make a way. And even now, to this day, I'm working with people that on the TV sets that were doing that were working those sets back then that I was doing background for, and now they're, you know, moving up and they're like right now I'm doing a show where the man is a second AD, but back then I don't know what he was, but he was on working the quad and I was just the background, and now I'm a recurring. I can't speak about that, but you know what I mean? So it's just like it's crazy the journey. So if I let my identity say, no, you don't belong here, I wouldn't be right where I am today. So I had to deal with me. It was a parallel experience because I had to deal with me at the same time because I was never not going to pursue my dreams ever.
Okay. No, I love that. It's really interesting that you said that, because one of the conversations that a family member of mine said, I'll say it was my grandfather. And he told me, he said, I want you to know that I accept you. He said, your grandmother accepts you. That's when I came out as being bi. By the way, I represent the B and LGBT, you guys. He said, I accept you, your grandmother accepts you. He said, but this is what I want you to do, because I don't want you limiting yourself. He said, don't let what you do, who you do it with, and the fun that you have be defined by your sexuality. Open yourself to all possibilities, because there's nothing that you can't do. What you happen to be attracted to does not dictate your worth. It does not dictate your trajectory, and it does not dictate who you are. It's such a small part of who you are in the world.
Right.
Don't you let it make it. Don't you let it be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Thing, like you said, like it just opens you up to all possibilities. Because a lot of times when it comes to not just being LGBT, but just being Black or minority in general, they kind of put us in a box. Oh, this ain't something Black people do, or brown people do, or gay people do. No, they do this, they do that. No, people do all types of things, and who they love and what their skin color is, that doesn't matter.
Right.
Believe, expand the box. Say that Black girls can do this. Say that Black women can do this. Say that women of trans experience can do this, because they really can do it all. And that's the reality of the situation. And that's where it comes into entertainment 101, women of trans experience in media. We have Laverne Cox. We have the ladies from the cast of Pose. Recently, they had a woman of trans experience, and she was on Roseanne, and she had a episode where she ended up about to quit her job because they were trying to get her to take like a urine test to determine if she had like drugs in her system or whatnot. And they had to stand right there and watch you actually taking it. She was like, "No, I'm not going to do that. You're not going to stand there and watch me do this and do that." Do you think it's gotten easier for women of trans experience in the acting and entertainment world, or are there still so many hurdles we have to jump over?
No, this is the beginning. So, in the beginning of anything, there's so many things that you have to work through and fight for, all of that. This is literally the beginning. Throughout history, there's obviously been women of trans experience who are talented and actresses, and they've been a part of things. But I feel like now we are in a space where it's not one,
Right.
Well, there's always one. Like there's not even many, but there's a few of us. I know there are many of us, but there's only a few of us with a platform, with the visibility that people can see who's out here doing the work. Even for myself, I've been on web series for years, but I haven't been on TV. I've been on TV for years, but not as characters with speaking roles. So you didn't probably notice me, or you didn't probably see me. So we're just at the beginning, and we're really just at the beginning of characters, storytelling, characters that are trans-specific, stories that are centering trans folk. Because I feel like at the end of the day, a lot of people, there's statistics about, America, this percent of America doesn't know a trans person. And that could be true. I don't know who's taking that survey. Right. But I feel like in our community, specifically in a Black community, whether you're up north or in the South, you've encountered somebody from somewhere at some point. We did not just pop up. We've always been here. So the fact that we are getting into a space now where there are characters that are, trans specific, or there are stories that are centering trans people, that's dope. But it's just the beginning, and there's still a lot to work through. There's still a lot of things to fight through at the same time.
Let's talk about the portrayal of women of trans experience in the media. Because the thing about it is, originally when I did the research, is they always call it Frankenstein syndrome, or they put them in comedies. When I say the Frankenstein syndrome, it was more of a man who dressed as a woman so that he could impersonate women and kill or do something to them. And then the other one was like comedic, where you have stuff like Mrs. Doubtfire. And then they didn't make the cross section between like drag. They didn't differentiate between drag and trans. Right. So them was all the same thing. Like if you look at Tu Wong Fu, everything is either a comedy or a dramatic comedy. And I think the movie like Tu Wong Fu actually started at the beginning to be like, okay, we need to take this role a little bit more seriously. Even though it's still funny, it's some lessons to be learned about how to deal with people that other people deem as other. You understand what I'm saying? So how do you feel now? Like, are they doing roles? Is it a more accurate portrayal, depiction of women of trans experience?
Well, to your point earlier, I don't think we are not a monolith, so there's not one particular experience. I do feel like the industry tends to center the sex work narrative or story, which is a very real story, and sex work is work, period.
Also, the survival sex is a very real thing, and that sometimes to eat, they had to, and that's been the way for them to make money. If you live in a community, there aren't very many options, and people won't hire you for your job. Let's be very clear, y'all. They won't. They won't hire you for a job. You don't got the money to fight it in court. So you have to do what you need to do so you can get the bread that you need to get, the water you need to get. Let's be very clear about this. Survival sex is a very real thing. Go ahead, Tony.
And even so, survival sex for sure, but even women that are choosing to be in sex work because that's what they want to do, that's okay. Like, it's still, sex work is work, whether it's survival, whether it's a career, whether it's a means to an end, which low key is survival, or sometimes it's just, well, I am working, but I need extra money for this, that, and the other. So a means to an end, survival, nobody's hiring me, so I have to survive. Or if it's a career, you do
Absolutely.
sex work as a career, and all of those things are okay. However, those are not the only stories. Those are not the only journeys. Those are not the only experiences that we face. So I feel like there's so many things I want to see. I want to see a woman of trans experience in a loving relation, a loving and affirming relationship. I feel like Blanca was headed there, but then Pose ended. So I'm just like, and even that relationship, it was so fast tracked because it was the last season. We didn't get to see the ins and outs. I want to see a woman of trans experience in college. I want to see a woman of trans experience, you know, pledging to become Greek, because that's something a lot of us aspire to do. I want to see a woman of trans experience, you know, found or create a business. All of these things. There's so many stories still left to be told because there's so many out there. But the industry just tends to focus on that sex work narrative. And I don't know why, but that's what they tend to focus on. So,
listen, because to them, it's they feel. I feel like we demean trans people down to their body parts, and then we have this stereotype, this ideology of they're out here doing what they call stealth sex, which is a complete stereotype and very demeaning. Stealth sex, guys, implies that trans people are keeping their assigned birth gender a secret and secretly sleeping with heterosexual people and not telling them about it. Let's be clear. That ain't the norm. That ain't the norm. Not to tell people all the time, too, that there are men and there are women that are attracted to people with trans experience. And we need to accept that and affirm that and be okay with that and allow them to be okay with what they're attracted to. I definitely agree with that. I think when it comes to the portrayals that I've seen recently in the last few years, when it comes to women of transgender experience, I mean, yeah, I've seen a lot of I used to be a sex worker and now I've leveled up to this is what I'm doing just for now, to, like I said, when I saw Roseanne with this woman of trans experience, and she was like the manager of the whole factory over there. And I was surprised. It's not a Roseanne. It's called the Connors now. Let me stop saying Roseanne.
I was like, because you said Roseanne, I was like, I don't know about Roseanne. Okay.
It ain't Roseanne, but we canceled her. Yeah, it's the Connors. I'm sorry.
Okay. I was like, ooh, Roseanne. Okay.
I saw that. I love that. And I recently ran into a young lady, and she actually owns her own business. She owns like two of them. She actually owns 2 McDonald's in Henry County. I'm not going to say her name or anything for her own safety, but she is a woman of trans experience, and she owns 2 McDonald's, and she's about to buy her 3rd one. And one of the things that she makes sure that she does is that she hires people with trans experience to work there. They need a job, and she tries to help them as she can. And I love that.
Even in Atlanta, like, and I can say these people names because they're open about who they are, but like even Shay, Shamari Cherry, icon Shay Chanel, she owns her own Diamond Faces business. And I know people that own T-strings, like things that we have to wear every day. Like, there are women of trans experience with businesses at the end of the, like, there's so many things. I went to college.
Yes, you did.
She owns a business. There's people out here married, building families, but we don't see those kind of stories. And those stories also deserve to be told, because I know when I was younger, and now I have a completely different mindset now, but I know when I was younger, the first women that I ever saw who were trans, they were in sex work, they were in criminal activity, writing checks. We would go to hotels and just stay there. They would rent cars, never turn them in. And that was the first visual or experience that I got with women. So if I see that and I know that's not who I am, I'm going to be turned off immediately. And I internalize that to make it about me, to say, if I transition, I needed or I had to do those things in order to transition. And that's not true. So at some point, while all of those stories that are being told are valid and are relatable to somebody, and somebody's story, we all deserve to see a reflection of who we are, or the journeys or the experiences that we've had in our real life be played out, you know, in this fictional world, though for a lot of us is nonfiction in our personal lives.
Absolutely. Yeah. By the way, if you love the content that we're talking about and you want to support feel free to buy a badge to like 69 cents, $1, $5. The money goes directly into the influencers' pockets and not to Instagram. But I agree with everything that you just said. And one of the things that I've always thought about, because like for me, myself, I've been doing, well, definitely practicing with screenwriting over the last 6 months. So I've actually written scripts. And I always said that one thing I didn't want to do was tokenism when it came to women of trans experience, or just people with trans experience, period. Do you feel like in the web series world, there are times where you've been like tokenized? Where you've been made like, well, we want a trans girl, so we're just going to put Toni in?
Yeah. Yeah, and I've even been a part of series where I've had, as the character said, some really dumb stuff, some really, now that I look back, some phobic stuff about my own identity. And because of the time that it was in, I'm like, oh, you know, I'm new to Atlanta, like trying to get these opportunities and not really thinking about that part. Like, oh, somebody booked me, I'm gonna go do this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's some stuff I won't even look back at. It's some stuff I won't put on my resume. It's some stuff I don't need to, because it's been years and years since, but would never even put on a reel, because I was just doing it for the sake of the opportunity. But not every opportunity is a good opportunity. And I'm grateful to go through those experiences, because now I know better. When you know better, you do better. So now I know better. And now those experiences have allowed me to become a better advocate. So when my friends are going through something and they're not speaking up, or if I'm going through something, I am now empowered to speak up. So yeah, I've definitely experienced that before, and it's a fool.
Were you surprised? So a lot of the directors that you work with in the world, they were actually, LGBT directors and producers themselves. Were you surprised that they were so closed-minded with their writing portrayals of trans people?
I think at the time I didn't think about it, because like I said, it was an opportunity that was presenting itself and I took it. But now that I look back, there are certain people I don't even want to work with. I wouldn't even want to work with, because I'm like, y'all didn't care enough to build content around our community. And then when you did bring us into the picture, it was people that were not actresses. It was just people you knew with names and a platform to bring viewership to your what am I saying? Your show, or whatever the case it might be. Like those are the things I say. I was even I had even got casted for a show, a movie actually, and they wanted a bigger name to do it. And I was like, go ahead, y'all want to do that, I'll still be a part. They filmed it with a bigger name and left me out of it. Yeah. So I've seen it all, and literally it's some people I just don't even pay any mind. I wish everybody the best, because I want to see everybody win. But I know when I'm supposed to be in the space and when I'm not. And for us to have so many content creators throughout the years, and them not to care enough to censor us, to cast us. I've been background. I've been in roles that should not have been for trans people. If anything, should have been cross-dressers or boys in wigs for the night. It just didn't equal up. And now that, like I said, I know better, you do better.
Nicole,
I would never do that again.
Nicole Scott, she said, speak on it. I remember that and shake my head. That's
who Nicole said that?
Nicole Scott, yes. We'll have Nicole on one-on-one one day and have a conversation with her too later on this year. I'll have to set that up. But for me, the disrespect comes in with no research done. Because for me, whenever I'm going to write about something or a subject that I don't know very much about, I'll go to the source material. Like if it was a trans issue that I need to be knowledgeable about, I would say, hey, Toni, like, am I doing this right? Am I saying this right? How should I say this? Am I saying this program? If I was going to a Kiki ball, I'm finna go talk to Mother Toni and find out what's going on. I'm not finna go by what I heard, about a stereotype and just write a character or something based off that. It's disrespectful, because that can be bad knowledge that I'm getting. And then that's gonna get backlash in my series, because like, oh, you know better. You supposed to know better.
Yeah.
Ain't he part of such and such? Ain't he a journalist? Don't he research? No. If you're gonna write a script, if you're gonna do a production, go ahead and do the research too.
Do the research.
It's gonna cost you a little bit more time, but it's not gonna cost you more money to be politically correct and to be on your shit and to treat people like human beings.
And you know what's funny is Nicole and myself, like, anytime we've submitted for a role and the writing, like the description sounds a little suspect and sounds foolish, there's roles I wouldn't even submit for, but I would submit just to write them a note to say, y'all need to do this or not do this, and y'all need to do this better. Because I'm not interested in being a part of the show, but I'm interested in the way what you wrote, because you shouldn't have wrote it like that. And somebody who was like me 5-6 years ago, who was like, I just need an opportunity to get my foot in the door, may not care about the small, not even because it's not small to me. It might be small to them, but might not care about those type of things. But I, being who I am now, am empowered to speak up when I need to. And people, a lot of times, or now more so, have come to me saying, okay, Toni, I want to do this. I want to write this character. Can you read over this? And I'm appreciative for those things, because now it's like, even if you don't care, act like you care, okay?
Gotcha.
But if you do really care, that's even more better. And and I tell them all the time, don't write the character first, consult first, and then go write the character. Because when you've done the writing and you've done the work first, then it lets me know that you just wanted to do what you wanted to do, and now you want to get feedback. Well, now, just like you don't have time to consult with one of us first, I don't have time to review your character. Like, we have to do better. Our people have to do better, period. But
and then somebody like me comes along and I'm kind of tearing the damn show up. They're like, oh, you just didn't like this. Right. No, baby, this was bad. I know this. And I'm not an expert on this thing. I know this, and you don't say this, and you don't say that, and you don't put a woman of trans race in a situation like this or make it seem like this. Stop. Stop.
Yeah.
Expand the narrative. Change the story. Show me some new shit.
Yeah.
All that. Show me some new shit. I actually started, and when I say show me some new shit, I actually started watching Supergirl on the CW about 2 years ago, because they introduced a trans superhero on there. Her name is Dreamer on there, and she has like these psychic powers where she falls asleep and she has these visions and these energy blasts and stuff. And she did an episode where this guy started attacking trans people, right? And said he wasn't going to stop until she stopped being a superhero herself. And she was like, "No, I'm not going to stop doing that." And she beat his ass and everything like that. And the whole lesson was that representation is important. Like, fan the narrative. And she said people don't want to think of trans people outside the ordinary or doing anything they're normally doing. She said, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep saying this. I want to keep standing by Supergirl's side and doing that. And I just feel like we got to be like that across the board. And expanding the narrative. And I know last night, the Emmys are trending right now. They're calling them, they're saying Emmys so white. Pretty much, the cast of Pose to win a number of Emmys, and they didn't take any home. And one of the ones that they felt was the biggest snub was with MJ Rodriguez. She was nominated for Best Actress in a television series, in a drama series, and she didn't win. A lot of people are really upset about that. The Emmys last night had a chance to make history, and they didn't. How do you feel about that?
Well, this is how I feel. Okay. And I'm speaking from my perspective if I was in her shoes, right? So I feel like when people try to say, oh, she's a transgender actress, I'm not a transgender actress. I'm an actress, period. That's it. However, in my personal life, I might be a woman of trans experience, but in my talent, I'm an actress. That's my job description, actress. So don't root for me because I'm trans only. Root for me because I'm an actress that did an amazing job at portraying this character and at telling this story. And I feel like a lot of people are wanting to see this show win because it's just, these people are trans, these people are trans, these people are trans. But don't just, again, reduce us. And I know this is probably going to sound like, what? But don't reduce me to my identity even within my talent. Because I'm still talented without my specific identity at the end of the day. So I want to be given my roses because of my talent and not my identity. That's one. However, I do understand that we're in a space now where it's the beginning for us. So first trans this, first trans that, it's going to happen. So I understand why people are in the outrage for sure, because I think MJ did a beautiful job as Blanca. Her when she won that Legendary Mother Award in the last episode, that's the screensaver on my phone. Because even as a person that exists in ballroom and being a legendary mother now, that's something I aspire to be. So to see her do that in a show within ballroom, and I am now able to do that in real life, that's dope to me. So I've been inspired by MJ from day one, or excuse me, Blanca from day one. So I want to see that character get its roses, and MJ being the person behind the character to get her roses because of how talented she was and because of the amazing story that she told. Not simply because she's my sister of trans experience. I want to see us all win at the end of the day, but let me win for other reasons beyond my identity. So I think a lot, and I don't know people's outrage because I can't speak for everybody, but I feel like a lot of people's outrage is probably because, oh, they're shading her because she's trans, and like I feel like that's going to play a big part of it. But MJ deserved it, period, because MJ is talented, and that story she portrayed as Blanca she did an amazing job, period. I don't know what else to say besides she did an amazing job and she deserved it. I don't know the system to the Emmys, just like I don't know the system to the Oscars, just like I don't know the system to the Grammys. So I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but at the end of the day, MJ in Ballroom, and she knows this firsthand, it's not about the win, it's about the impact. So she did not win, but her impact will live forever. And that's just that on that. She did not win that Emmy, but her impact will linger on forever. That show will forever be a part of her legacy, period. That show broke records, period. It's about the impact, people. So don't be so concerned about a win. Let it be about the impact. So the fact that we can even have this conversation lets us know that her impact as in that role, that show as a whole, was greater than just winning an award, period. Look at, and I don't want to switch gears. Beyonce has never won an album of the year, but look at her impact.
That's a very good example. That's a very good example. That's a very good parallel. It's a very good example. Very good. Let me tell you, girl, you got a way with words. I'm telling you, I see you filling stadiums. I see you accepting an award as Lifetime Achievement Award. I see you standing up on that stage with that golden with the angel with the wings like this, holding the crown. I see you with it, because you did just say that, like, as they said. They're like, it's. And
don't get me wrong, we want to. Those things they don't validate anything, but they do affirm. They let me know that what I'm doing in this space, in this time, in this industry is being seen by my peers, and they want to reward me for the work that I'm doing. Great. However, the impact is still greater than anything, because I can't even tell you. I don't know who won in her category. Did Michaela win in her category, or did somebody else win in her category?
Michaela did. She won.
But so look at that.
And that was a show about
one black woman or one Afro-Latina woman or black, I don't know how MJ specifically identifies, didn't win, but another black woman won either way. So the win, it came home. It still came home. But MJ, Blanca, the impact is still greater than the win at the end of the day. And congratulations to Michaela Cole. But the impact is still greater than the win.
Girl, I'm gonna make a clip of life out of this, because you have said, you don't understand. Some people watching this, a good number of people watching this, have just been liberated by what you said. And it goes back to what me and you both say. Mm-hmm. We don't let our identity define what we can do, where we can go, and what we can expect for ourselves. We determine that. And that's the same thing I say for me. Love me because you love me, not because of who and not because of who I love. Because I don't need you doing that. I don't need you doing that. I need my talent to make room for me.
Because that's the journey to normalizing who we are.
Absolutely.
That's the journey to normalizing.
That's the human part of it.
Yeah. Just support me because I'm your fellow human being at the end of the day. Don't support me because these nuances of my identity. Support me because I'm your fellow human being. Want me to win because I'm your fellow human being and I'm talented, or whatever the case may be. That's all that I'm saying. She deserved it, but at the end of the day, the impact is greater than the win.
The impact is greater than the win. That's a quote from Toni Bryce, y'all. That is a quote.
You heard it here first. No, just
that needs to be put out there. Like, I'm gonna make sure you get a nice clip. I'll make sure y'all go to the YouTube channel and all that. I'm gonna have a whole everything posted up here. But that's beautiful. That's truly beautiful. Who would you say you follow in media? Like, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that question. I got tongue tied for a second there. Mm-hmm. As far as actresses of trans experience, who do you feel like you've been most impacted by?
So I have two, and I have them for different reasons. One, I talked about MJ because of her role as Blanca and how impactful that was to me as a person in ballroom and as a mother in ballroom. And the second person would be Ashton Grooms. She played Dior in season 3 of Star. And the reason why for her was because though she did a great job at Dior, it was more about when you opened this up saying not opened it up, but at some point you said representation matters, right?
Correct.
And what is representation for Toni? So not only being Black, not only being trans, but being plus size, being mother lush and plush. And a lot of times and not to body shame, because I would never do that. I've been body shamed, so I want to do that to anybody else. But when I see girls that don't have my frame over and over and over and over again, okay, great. Congratulations to them. Right. But when you see somebody that is lush and plush with a frame that kind of mimics yours or close to yours, that is liberating. Because seeing Ashton on Star and her being I don't like to say big or fat or nothing. I like to say lush and plush, as y'all probably think I'm like a lush and plush.
It's all of the above.
Seeing her as a lush and plush girl, as a Black woman of trans experience as well, on a show, on a TV show, that for me was everything. Because now I'm able to go on a show in my lush and plushness and kind of feel okay. You know what I'm saying? And not feel like, oh, let me go. Now, don't get me wrong. I do want to hit the gym and I do want to be a certain way, but I don't want to be skinny. And so to see people like her on film that's working, I'm just like, that right there, I love it. Period. And so those were two different things. MJ because of Blanca, but then also Ashton because of her being a lush and plush girl, and that's what I am. And then also I would just like to shout out my sister Alexandria Gray, because she has been such a sweetheart from day one. And she's a working girl, okay? Working. Sister, stay booked.
You know what? I've been impacted by a actress of trans experience myself, India Moore. The way she advocates, the way she fights, how she lives her life so proudly.
Well, you know, India's pronouns is they, them.
I'm sorry. The way they move, the way they advocate, the way they live their lives so out and proud. I know she plays Angel. I know they play Angel on Pose. And on their character said, the world don't change, people change it. That spoke to me so deeply. Yeah. That spoke to me so deeply. I remember I was sitting around, I was like, you know what? Nobody wants to, they don't want to deal with a bigger dude. They're not going to deal with it. Nobody want to deal with me because I'm bigger. I'm bi. That confuses some guys. That confuses some girls. I don't have the money that I want. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And I said, but you know what? The table that you have is the table that you make. So either you can complain about how the world is, or you can fight to make it better. Yeah. Every single thing we ever said was wrong, or nobody can do this. Like once upon a time, they saw all of us Black people as slaves. They never saw us as anything else beyond that until somebody came along and said, hey, that's not okay. And people started fighting against it. The same for trans people. The same for women. The same for even children's rights and stuff now. Every generation, somebody comes along and say, hey, the world can be a little bit better. Just because this has always been, how it's always going to be. And so that inspired me hearing that line and say, get your ass off that sofa. Decide what the hell you going to do. You said you want to save the world. Okay, maybe you can't save it, but you can leave it better than you found it. Do your part, Mike. Do it. So I would never forget that. I actually have a poster at my house with her on it in marker. I have it written at the bottom. The world, people change it. People change, which is true. That's very true. Changed my life. Let me tell you something, Miss Bryce. This has been a wonderful conversation with you. As always, we have the best conversations. You're always in my corner, and I appreciate you. I love from you is always genuine and real. And you always keep it 100 with me. And I want you to know that I appreciate that. You know, a lot of times I'm surrounded by a lot of snakes, and I'm kicking them every single day. You know what I mean? I found that the peace that I have is not something I'm ever going to sacrifice again. But I want you to know, I love you. And however I can support you, whatever you need from me, you know, you always got me in your corner. I'm your biggest gun in the barrel, and they better not try it. No, I really do thank you, Mikey, because like I said from the beginning, you have been one person that has always used your platform
to empower and like to give information, like to be a space of information and some education as well, whether it be on your website, whether it be these type of interviews. We've done a Zoom interview before. I think the earliest one we ever did was Twisted. Yeah, we sat down at that place, that studio where we were filming the pictures and all of that stuff for season 1, and we all came out and did our interviews with you. And literally from that day, it's always been support, always been support,
Always
and always been support, and always been honesty, all of that. And I really do appreciate you and everything you've done and supporting me with along the way. I really do, because like, you know, when she make it to wherever God in the universe is bringing her to, period, I'm gonna always know that the people that helped me get to where I am, period.
Same here. You know, I might need a date to the Oscars when I finally get to cover the red carpet. Invite
Hello, somebody.
I'm like, I'm bring Miss Bryce with me. Yes, come on, Miss Bryce. You need her gown ready today? Yes. I don't care if it's square at the moment. You get it done. That's what that's what you're here for. That's what you do. Get to it.
It's to it.
Cole said she coming.
Mind you, I can't even see the comments or anything. I guess it's like frozen on my side, but I don't know what anybody. I see my mama on here earlier. Hey, mom, if you still watching, hey, Nicole.
I wish you had a shout out. I'm like, hey, mama, what's going on?
Yeah, I seen her when she came on, but I was talking. If I would have, you know, stopped, I probably would have lost my train of thought. But I don't know if she's still on because nothing is showing on my end. But hey, everybody watching, thank y'all for tuning in and supporting.
Definitely. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. This was another episode of One-on-One. Thank you so much to my guest, Miss Toni Bryce. You guys make sure you're following her at the Toni Bryce. And of course, you guys check back here every Monday and Tuesday, usually at 7 o'clock p.m., where I'll be having more one-on-ones. Tomorrow's one-on-one is Melanated 101, the dark-skinned Black woman with my good girl, Ebony Chanel. So y'all tune in. What is it like being a dark-skinned Black woman in America?
That's going to be good.
Better. Are we doing right by them? Are we still saying stupid stuff like, oh, you real pretty for a dark-skinned girl? Because if we are, it's time to stop that shit. Let's get to it. Let's be human about the situation. Just as human as we were today. Congratulations to everybody who won the Emmys last night, and even to the people who didn't, because the nomination is still a foot in the door. Let's be cool. Let's be clear about that. All right, y'all? Stay tuned. Be blessed. Thank y'all for y'all support. I love y'all always. And I love you, Toni. Have an amazing,
I love you back.
Amazing night. God bless. Peace.